The sky above Earth shimmered as sleek silver ships entered the atmosphere, their hulls glowing like spears dipped in sunlight. The Varelians had arrived, an elite group of alien cadets from the Galactic Unified Forces, chosen for their speed, intelligence, and loyalty. They were tall and thin, with smooth blue-gray skin and flexible limbs that bent in strange directions. Every one of them wore a proud look on their face as they stood before their commanding officer inside the lead. Dropship. He stared at them with cold eyes and began his speech. "This planet is called Earth," he said, his voice filled with arrogance. "It's heavy, old, and stubborn. A backwater world with nothing advanced. You are here for a simple test. We call it the gravity drill. Drop into their wild terrain. Survive a few days, that's it. Do that, and you earn your command badge." His words made some of the cadets smile. Others chuckled. One muttered, "This is going to be easy." Their suits were designed for space combat and low-gravity environments. They had climbed the cliffs of Arachnu and trained in zero-G domes around their twin suns. Earth, with its forests and stone and rain, seemed like a joke. As the dropship doors opened, a heavy wave of wind and heat rushed in. The cadets stepped forward and dropped from the ship into a lush green valley surrounded by towering cliffs and thick jungle. Mount Karung, one of the most challenging natural regions on Earth. The moment they landed, the air seemed to thicken. Their boots sank slightly into the soft dirt. Their packs suddenly felt heavier. Some stumbled. A few laughed, thinking it was just nerves. But then, their limbs began to slow. Their bodies moved like they were pushing through water. One cadet looked at his arm in confusion, watching it tremble from simple motion. "Why does it feel like this?" he asked. Another gasped. "It's the gravity. It's wrong." And it was. Earth's gravity was stronger than most habitable worlds. It pulled hard and constant, never easing. It didn't care about your rank or training. It just pulled. Far above them, in a control center orbiting the planet, a group of human soldiers watched everything on screens. Every step, every misstep was being recorded by hidden drones. One of the younger humans laughed at the stumbling aliens. Another pointed at a cadet who was already gasping for breath. But standing near the center of the room was Captain Rhea Morgan, a hardened Earth soldier with streaks of gray in her short hair and eyes that had seen war. She didn't laugh. She kept her arms crossed and her face still. "They always laugh at first," she said quietly. "Let's see what they do after day one." The jungle waited. The cadets started moving, trying to follow the survival markers placed along a long and difficult trail. The trees were tall and thick. The air was wet and full of buzzing insects, and the sunlight pierced through in sharp golden beams. They hadn't gone half a mile before one cadet sat down, breathing hard. Another tripped on a root and cursed. Still, they pushed forward, believing this was just the warm-up. None of them had yet seen what Earth truly had in store. They didn't know about the steep cliffs, the wild animals, the sudden rainstorms that turned paths into rivers. And more than anything, they hadn't yet learned the truth about Earth's gravity. It wasn't just numbers on a chart. It was a constant, living force, a test, a weight that didn't just press down on your body, but on your pride, your spirit, and your will to keep moving. And for these alien cadets, the lesson was just beginning. The alien cadets struggled as they began their journey deeper into the jungle, quickly realizing that Earth's gravity was far more punishing than they had expected. What had seemed like a simple hike became an exhausting battle against an invisible force that pressed down on every movement. Their boots sank into the soft, muddy ground with each step, slowing their pace. The heavy packs strapped to their backs felt like weights tied to their bodies, dragging them down relentlessly. One cadet tried to sprint ahead but stumbled, his limbs trembling as if filled with lead. The others watched, their confident smiles fading, replaced by grim determination. Their training in lighter gravity environments did little to prepare them for this. The muscles in their bodies screamed with pain after just a short walk, and some began to show signs of strain. The once easy confidence that carried them into the drill started to crack. Above the jungle canopy, unseen drones hovered, silently, capturing every moment of the cadets' struggle. In the control room orbiting Earth, human soldiers observed the feed with sharp eyes. A young private laughed softly, watching the aliens stumble and falter while others exchanged quiet, knowing looks. The human captain in charge, Rhea Morgan, watched without emotion. She had seen countless such drills before and knew better than anyone that these challenges were designed to break even the strongest spirits. "They think this will be easy," she said quietly to herself. But Earth doesn't give up its lessons so easily. As the cadets pressed forward, the jungle around them seemed alive and hostile. The thick air was heavy with humidity, making each breath a struggle. The sounds of insects buzzed constantly, and the wet leaves underfoot were slippery and treacherous. The cadets began to realize that this was no ordinary training exercise. The environment was a challenge in itself. A sense of unease grew among them as the jungle seemed to close in tighter, with vines that caught at their clothing and thorny bushes that scratched their arms and faces. Each step forward was a test of endurance, balance, and willpower. Then came the first real danger. From the dense undergrowth, a huge six-legged creature burst forward, an earth rock lizard, known for its speed and aggressive nature. The cadets froze, caught off guard by the sudden attack. Their advanced weapon systems were useless in the thick jungle environment, and the creature's sheer size made it terrifying. It lunged with surprising speed, jaws snapping and claws slashing. Panic spread among the cadets, many of whom had never faced wild beasts on foot. But before chaos could erupt, a figure dropped from the trees above. A human instructor named Sergeant Eli Vega. His presence was immediate and commanding. Without hesitation, Vega landed on the lizard's back, driving his boots down hard to keep his balance. He drew a survival knife from his belt and struck swiftly, targeting the creature's sensitive spots. The lizard howled in pain and retreated into the shadows. The cadets stared in shock, unsure how to react. Vega's calm confidence was a sharp contrast to their confusion and fear. "This is Earth," he said, voice low and steady. "You don't survive by strength alone. You survive by grit, by knowing how to fight when everything is against you." The moment marked a turning point. The cadets realized this drill was not just about physical endurance, it was a test of spirit and adaptability. Their technology and training in zero gravity could not save them here. They had to learn to rely on instinct and determination, skills that Earth's gravity and harsh environment forced out of anyone who dared to stand on this planet. Slowly, the group gathered themselves, following Sergeant Vega deeper into the wild, their laughter and mockery replaced by focus and respect for the challenge before them. Meanwhile, high above the planet, the Varelian warship Kirschtal watched the drill from orbit, its captain growing impatient and defiant. The ship was not authorized to be so close, and Earth's orbital defense systems quickly locked on. The calm silence of space shattered as human fighter jets scrambled into action, their engines roaring and lasers cutting through the void. The battle was fierce but brief. Earth's smaller, faster ships outmaneuvered the Varelian warship, striking precise blows and forcing it to retreat. The humans had sent a clear message. Earth was no easy target, and their gravity drill was only the beginning of a fight far more dangerous than the cadets had imagined. Through all of this, the cadets trudged forward, each step heavier than the last, their pride beginning to crack under the weight of Earth's relentless pull. What had started as a simple test was turning into a trial that would break some and forge others into something stronger. And somewhere deep in the jungle, Sergeant Vega watched quietly, knowing the hardest lessons were still to come. The alien cadets pushed onward, the weight of Earth's gravity dragging on their limbs like chains. Their breaths came shorter, and muscles that had once felt strong now trembled with exhaustion. Each step was harder than the last, and many began to question whether they could finish the drill at all. The jungle around them grew darker and more tangled, thick with towering trees whose roots twisted like giant serpents across the muddy ground. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and the constant buzz of insects. Every sound seemed sharper, every shadow more menacing. They had come to test their limits, but what they did not expect was the raw, unyielding force of this planet, itself fighting back. The cadets struggled to keep formation as the path wound steeply uphill. Some stumbled and fell, their bodies too weak to resist the pull of gravity. The packs they carried dragged them down mercilessly, and they cursed under their breath. Their once pristine suits were scratched and dirty from the jungle's assault, and sweat poured down their faces. They tried to help each other, but exhaustion and frustration bred tension. Whispers of doubt spread through the group. "Maybe this planet really is worthless," one muttered. Another replied, "It's not the planet, it's us, we're weak." The words stung, but no one argued. The drill was stripping away their pride and forcing them to face their own limits. Sergeant Eli Vega stayed close, watching with a steady gaze. He knew that breaking their bodies was only the first step. Breaking their spirits was the real goal. He called out short commands, urging them to focus, to push through the pain. "Earth's gravity doesn't care who you are," he said. "It doesn't care if you're the best fighter in the galaxy, it just pulls. You either find strength inside you or you break." His voice was rough but carried an iron resolve that slowly began to anchor the cadets' wavering will. Some looked at him with new respect, while others simply gritted their teeth and forced themselves onward. As they climbed higher, the terrain became even more dangerous. The soil was loose and slippery, and rain began to fall in heavy sheets, soaking their suits and making every step a perilous gamble. The cadets slipped on moss-covered rocks and narrowly avoided falling into hidden ravines. The wild animals that called this place home seemed to watch them silently, as if waiting for a chance to strike. Fatigue made the smallest obstacles feel like mountains, and the alien cadets realized that this was no ordinary survival test. This was a trial by nature itself, designed to crush the unprepared. Then disaster struck. One cadet lost his footing on a slick rock and tumbled down a steep slope, crashing into a thicket of thorny bushes. His screams echoed through the trees as he struggled to free himself, his suit torn and bleeding from multiple cuts. The others rushed to help, but the rescue was slow and difficult. The injured cadet's breathing was shallow, and it was clear he couldn't continue. The group faced a harsh choice: leave him behind to save themselves or risk everything to carry him out. The tension was thick, but Sergeant Vega's voice cut through. "We leave no one," he said firmly. "Not here, not on Earth." Together, the cadets fashioned a stretcher from fallen branches and vines, their hands trembling from cold and fatigue. Each step was a struggle, but they moved with a newfound determination born from camaraderie and respect. The gravity still pulled, but something deeper had shifted. Earth was breaking them down, but it was also building something new: strength through unity and hardship. The alien cadets were no longer just students. They were survivors learning the true meaning of resilience. Back in orbit, the tension between the Varelian fleet and Earth's defenders escalated. The Varelians sent scouts to monitor the drill and test Earth's defenses, but the humans responded swiftly and fiercely. Space battles flared across the stars as sleek Earth fighters darted through asteroid fields and laser fire lit up the darkness. The humans fought not just with technology, but with a fierce determination born from knowing what was at stake. The Varelians, despite their superior numbers, found themselves outmatched by the unyielding spirit of Earth's defenders. Meanwhile, the cadets pressed on through the jungle, the weight of their mission pressing down like the gravity itself. Every painful step, every moment of doubt and fear was a lesson. They learned that strength wasn't just muscle or technology, it was willpower, endurance, and the refusal to give up, even when everything seemed impossible. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the tangled forest, the alien cadets understood that Earth was not a place to conquer. It was a place to respect. And those who failed to do so would be broken, just as the gravity was breaking them. The jungle grew darker and colder as the alien cadets pushed deeper into Earth's wild heart, each step heavier than the last. Their bodies were exhausted, muscles trembling under the constant strain of the crushing gravity, and their minds battled fear and doubt. The once confident group was now quiet, moving like shadows through the thick underbrush. Around them, the jungle seemed to breathe and watch, full of unseen dangers waiting in the gloom. Every rustle in the leaves, every snap of a twig made their nerves jump. The alien cadets were no longer sure if they were the hunters or the hunted. Their advanced weapons and technology barely helped in this tangled maze where the weight of the planet itself was their greatest enemy. Sergeant Eli Vega led them with steady hands, his face calm but focused. He knew this was the moment when their true strength would be tested, not just their muscles, but their will to survive. The wounded cadet, carried carefully on a makeshift stretcher, was a heavy reminder of the price they paid for underestimating Earth. The group moved slower, but their determination grew sharper. Vega stopped occasionally to teach them how to use the environment around them, not just fight it. He showed them how to find firmer ground, how to use tree roots as handholds, and how to conserve their energy for the hardest parts. His lessons were tough, but the cadets began to understand that this planet demanded more than brute strength. It demanded respect and cunning. Suddenly, the peaceful tension shattered. A loud roar echoed through the trees, followed by a ground-shaking crash. From the shadows emerged a massive Earth predator, a towering armored beast with claws sharp enough to tear through metal. Its eyes burned with fierce intelligence, and it moved with surprising speed for its size. The cadets froze, fear gripping their hearts as the creature charged. Their weapons, effective at a distance, were nearly useless in the thick jungle where movement was slow and every step was a risk. The beast swiped with powerful claws, scattering the group and forcing them to retreat in chaos. Sergeant Vega acted without hesitation. He threw himself between the beast and the injured cadet, using his body as a shield. With a fierce yell, he slashed at the creature with his knife, dodging a lethal swipe by inches. The cadets regrouped, inspired by Vega's courage, and launched coordinated attacks to distract the beast. Slowly, working together with a mix of primitive tactics and alien technology, they managed to wound the creature. It let out a deafening roar and retreated into the darkness, leaving the group shaken but alive. That battle changed everything. The cadets realized that surviving on Earth meant more than relying on their weapons or their strength. It meant working as one, trusting each other and adapting to the planet's unforgiving nature. They learned to move silently, to read the jungle's signs, and to find strength in their unity. The drill that had begun as a physical test became a lesson in survival and teamwork, one that would shape them forever. Meanwhile, above the planet, the human defenders prepared for a new threat. The Varelian fleet, furious at their earlier retreat, launched a surprise attack on Earth's orbital stations. Massive warships clashed in the void, beams of energy, cutting through the darkness like lightning. The humans fought fiercely, using every tactic and weapon they had learned from centuries of conflict. Captain Rhea Morgan led the defense with fierce determination, coordinating fighters and shields to protect the vital stations. The battle was brutal and relentless, with explosions lighting up the blackness of space and debris drifting like stars. Despite being outnumbered, the humans' knowledge of their home system and their unbreakable will turned the tide. The Varelians suffered heavy losses and were forced to pull back once more. The victory was hard-earned and came at a cost, but it sent a clear message. Earth would not be conquered easily. The planet below was as strong as the people who lived on it. Back in the jungle, the cadets, bruised and weary but unbroken, pressed on toward the drill's final challenge. The gravity continued to weigh on their bodies, but something deeper carried them forward, the knowledge that they had faced Earth's hardest trials and survived. They were beginning to understand that strength was more than physical power. It was courage, endurance, and the ability to adapt in the face of overwhelming odds. This was the true lesson of Earth's gravity drill. Those who respected the planet and each other would survive. Those who did not would be broken. And as the stars shone above, the alien cadets knew that the battle for survival was only just beginning. The alien cadets reached the edge of a vast canyon, its walls rising like giant stone giants, jagged and unforgiving. The final leg of the gravity drill awaited them here, a sheer climb up the canyon's face, a test not only of strength, but of will. The air was thin and cold, the gravity pulling at their suits more heavily than ever. Fatigue weighed on them like a storm cloud ready to burst, but turning back was not an option. The canyon symbolized everything Earth demanded from those who dared challenge it: endurance, courage, and the refusal to surrender. Sergeant Eli Vega stood firm at the base, his eyes steady and voice calm, urging his team forward. He reminded them that Earth's gravity was a silent enemy, relentless, constant and unforgiving, but it was also a teacher. The climb was their final lesson. One by one, the cadets began the ascent. Their fingers gripped the cold, rough rock, their muscles trembling from exhaustion. The gravity made every movement a battle, and the higher they climbed, the thinner the air became, making each breath a precious struggle. The canyon echoed with the sounds of their labored breathing and the scrape of boots against stone. Some cadets slipped, their hands losing hold and their bodies swinging dangerously close to the edge. Panic flared, but Vega's steady commands cut through the fear, guiding them with calm authority. Focus on the next move, one step at a time. We're stronger than this climb. Midway up the cliff, a sudden tremor shook the canyon. Rocks loosened and crashed down, narrowly missing the cadets. The earth itself seemed to test their resolve, but they pressed onward. Vega took the lead, pulling cadets up one by one with ropes, his strength and experience a beacon in the chaos. The climb was brutal, but the team's growing trust in each other and their sergeant forged a bond stronger than steel. When one faltered, another was there to catch them. When doubt crept in, Vega's unwavering courage pushed it back. Above, the canyon in Earth's orbit, a massive space battle raged. The Varelian fleet had returned in full force, their warships like dark shadows against the stars. But the humans were ready. Earth's defenders unleashed a devastating counterattack, their warships moving with precision and deadly speed. Captain Rhea Morgan directed the battle with fierce determination, her voice steady even as explosions rocked their command ship. The clash was intense and chaotic, with laser beams and missile volleys lighting the void. Human ships darted through, asteroid fields using every advantage Earth's defenders could find. Despite the overwhelming enemy numbers, Earth's fighters struck hard and fast. They used tactics the Varelians did not expect: ambushes from hidden positions, rapid retreats, and surprise attacks that broke the enemy's formation. Each human pilot fought not just with skill but with a burning will to protect their home. Slowly, the tide of battle shifted. The Varelian fleet, battered and disorganized, began to retreat, their losses heavy and morale shaken. Back on the canyon wall, the alien cadets neared the summit. Their bodies screamed in protest, but their spirits burned bright. The last few feet were the hardest, with gravity pulling fiercely, the thin air making each breath a struggle. Then, one by one, they reached the top. Exhausted, battered, but victorious, they stood together and looked out over the jungle below, a vast, wild land that had tested them like no other place in the galaxy. The climb was more than a physical victory. It was proof that they had learned Earth's greatest lesson: strength is earned through struggle, and survival depends on courage and unity. As the sun rose over the horizon, casting golden light on the exhausted cadets, Sergeant Vega spoke quietly. He told them Earth's gravity was more than a force. It was a symbol of resilience. Those who mastered it earned a place not just as warriors, but as survivors. The cadets, once arrogant and doubtful, now carried a deep respect for the planet and for each other. They had been broken down, but from that breaking came a strength none had expected. Above, the battle-scarred skies of Earth's orbit calmed, and the humans prepared for the next fight. They knew their victory was only temporary, but their spirit was unbreakable. The alien cadets, too, had changed forever. They had faced Earth's gravity and come through stronger, not just in body, but in heart. The true test was over, but the war for the galaxy was just beginning, and Earth, with its fierce defenders and harsh lessons, stood ready. The final challenge was not just the climb or the jungle, but what came after. An unexpected encounter that would test the alien cadets in ways no drill could prepare them for. As they reached the summit of the canyon, breathing heavy and muscles trembling, a low hum vibrated through the air. The thick forest beyond the cliff suddenly opened to reveal a massive human settlement built with rugged efficiency. Tall structures made of steel and glass, surrounded by walls that shimmered with energy shields. The humans waited, not as enemies, but as teachers, ready to show the true meaning of Earth's strength. Sergeant Eli Vega led his team forward, wary but curious. The humans did not attack. Instead, they offered challenges of mind and spirit, testing the cadets' willpower and teamwork. The humans spoke simply but with deep pride in their planet and people. Their leader, Commander Rhea Morgan, greeted the aliens with respect and a firm warning. Earth was no place for arrogance or weakness. The cadets realized that this final trial was more than physical. It was a test of character, humility, and respect for a planet that demanded everything from those who wished to survive on it. Suddenly, alarms blared across the settlement. Scouts reported that the Varelian fleet, battered but relentless, had returned with reinforcements. Their warships darkened the sky, casting long shadows over the human city. The final battle was about to begin. The humans and alien cadets, once strangers and rivals, now stood side by side, united by the harsh lessons of Earth's gravity drill. There was no time for hesitation. The cadets, stronger and wiser from their ordeal, prepared their weapons and shields alongside the human defenders. As the enemy ships descended, Earth's defenders launched a fierce counterattack. Fighters zoomed through the sky, weaving between buildings and firing with deadly precision. Explosions shook the ground, and energy blasts lit the darkening sky. Sergeant Vega and his team moved through the chaos, using their new understanding of Earth's toughness and terrain to outmaneuver enemy forces. Their alien technology combined with human tactics created a powerful defense that pushed the Varelians back step by step. In the heat of battle, moments of personal courage shone bright. Vega saved a human pilot trapped under rubble, risking his own life. Commander Morgan led a daring strike against the Varelian flagship, showing the fierce determination that had kept Earth free for generations. The alien cadets, once mocking Earth's gravity as a joke, now fought to protect the planet and its people as if it were their own home. The bond between human and alien grew stronger with each clash, forged in fire and hardship. The Varelians, realizing their defeat was near, launched a desperate final assault. Massive warships fired everything they had, hoping to break through Earth's defenses. But the combined strength of humans and alien cadets held firm. In a powerful, coordinated strike, they destroyed the enemy's command ship, causing the rest of the fleet to scatter and retreat. The sky cleared, and silence fell over the battlefield. Exhausted but victorious, the alien cadets looked out over Earth's horizon with new eyes. They had come as conquerors, but now they stood as allies. The gravity drill had broken their arrogance and forged a respect for the planet and its defenders that ran deeper than fear or hatred. Sergeant Vega spoke quietly to his team. Strength was not just power, but heart. Earth's true lesson was that survival depended on unity, respect, and courage, even when facing impossible odds. Commander Morgan shook Vega's hand, promising that Earth would welcome those willing to learn and stand with them. The alien cadets had passed the final test. They had been broken and rebuilt, stronger and wiser. The galaxy would remember the day Earth's gravity drill changed everything, not just for humans, but for all who dared challenge the planet's fierce spirit. The war was far from over, but the bond formed here was a powerful new force, a promise that Earth would never stand alone again.